Hi, my name is Beth and I'm the sewing pattern designer and blogger at Sew DIY. This month I'm featuring my Miri tank top pattern with a brand new sew along. The Miri tank top is a woven tank top designed for beginners. It's finished with an all-in-one facing, so there are no buttons or zippers to trip you up. And it comes with 3 different cup sizes, so you can get closer to a really good fit without having to do a full bust adjustment. Last week, I shared a blog post about fabric and supplies and a video here on YouTube about how to measure yourself, how to select your size, and how to print out and assemble the pattern. Today's video is part 1 of 3 of sewing the tank top. We're going to cut out the fabric and interfacing, fuse the interfacing to the facing, then assemble the facing, stay stitch the tank top, and sew the darts. Let's get started. All right, I have my fabric all pre-washed and ironed and ready to cut out. This fabric is about 56 inches wide, and to maximize my fabric usage, I'm going to fold the fabric with 2 folds, so the selvages are going towards the center of the width of the fabric. Then I'm just going to hold my pattern piece in place with this ruler and cut around with my rotary blade. Before I move my fabric, I clip the notches, and I use these little scissors and just make a very small snip into the seam allowance. And then I go around. If any of the threads didn't get cut, I can trim those with my thread snips. The front pattern piece is cut on the fold, and again, I use my rotary cutter and I use my small one for the tighter curves. After cutting, I like to clip my notches, and it's really helpful to not move the fabric at all, and this will prevent any stretching. And then I want to mark my dart, and my favorite way to mark darts is by punching a hole in the circles of the dart and coloring over with chalk. Then to mark the other side, I'm going to very carefully flip the pattern and the fabric over. And then we're going to flip the pattern upside down and align it. And I'll do the same on the back. And we repeat the same thing to cut out the facings. For this pattern, we also need to cut out interfacing for both the front facing and the back facing. So I really like to use a lightweight, fusible, non-woven interfacing because it's affordable and it works. This kind of interfacing does not have a grain, so I have found that it doesn't matter which direction you cut out your pieces because there's no grain, it's non-directional. And it actually will tear really easily because it's non-woven. So on one side, it's flat and smooth, and then on the other side are the glue dots. The glue side is what we're going to put onto the back side of our fabric when we fuse it. I'm really not picky about interfacing. I just recommend using something that is the same weight or lighter than your fabric weight. So for this pattern, we're using light or medium weight fabric. So your interfacing should also be a light or medium weight. Heavier interfacing will just make your garment heavier than it needs to be. Here I have my front facing fabric and the interfacing, and I'm going to show you how to fuse the interfacing to the fabric. So we want to lay down the fabric with the wrong side up, and then I like to give the fabric a little press, just gently. We don't want to misshape it, just get it flat. So when we put the interfacing on top of our fabric, we want to have the bumpy side down, smooth side up, and then get all of these raw edges aligned. And you may need to move the fabric, shift it into place. And you can double check with your pattern piece to make sure things are lined up and in the right shape. So after you have everything in place, you want to grab your iron and with it set to hot but no steam, Just place the iron on top of the fabric and interfacing and hold it in place for 10 to 15 seconds. You don't want to move the iron back and forth because that can shift the fabric. And then just lift it up and move to the next location. And what you want to look for is for the little dots in the interfacing to disappear. The heat will melt the dots into the fabric and make it stick together. So if you can still see the dots, do a little bit more heat. And then let it just sit and cool all the way down before you move it. Here's our front and back facing with the interfacing attached. And our next step is to sew these together at the shoulder seams. So we want to place them with right sides together. And grab some pins. And you can line up the notch that's in the center of the facing when you pin these together. And then we'll stitch straight across. I have my machine all set up. I'm using a universal needle and a straight stitch. And the seam allowance for this pattern is 5/8 of an inch. So I have a little guide right here out of washi tape to help me out. To sew the shoulder seam, we'll start and end with a back stitch. If you're following along with the instruction booklet, step 3 is to stay stitch the neckline and armholes of the front and back pattern pieces. This will help ensure that these parts of the pattern don't stretch out during sewing. And when we sew these, we're going to start at the shoulder and go towards the center, or at the shoulder towards the side seam. It's basically up to down. The stay stitch is just a straight stitch that's sewn a little bit inside of the seam allowance, and it's used to stabilize the curve. Here I'm stay stitching the front, and I'm going to stitch from the shoulder down to the center of the neckline. Now we can do the armholes, again starting at the shoulder. All right, next we're going to stitch the bust darts. And what we want to do is fold the fabric so that the area of the fabric that's in between the two lines of the dart is right sides together. And we want the fold to run from the point of this little triangle on the side seam to the end of the dart, which I've marked here in chalk. So I'm going to pinch these together and then just fold my fabric. Now I clipped little snips in the side seam of the dart legs, so I'm going to line those up. You can see right there, and put a pin right here, and then put a pin through the very tip of the dart. Now I want to line up my dots on this side with the matching dots on the other side. So I poke my pin through and then look at the other side. Oh, and it went exactly through the other dot. So that means I have it folded nicely. And then I'm going to do the same down here. So I will poke through that dot and it's lined up nicely. Then we can flip our fabric over and put the pins through the dart on the other side. And I just do the same process of pinning the legs, pinning the point, and then matching the dots. To sew the dart, we're going to use a regular straight stitch, and we'll stitch from the side seam to the point of the dart. I just eyeball this, connecting the dots, but if it's helpful for you, you can also draw a line between the dots and stitch along the line. I start with a back stitch, then stitch straight down. And when I get to the end, I leave a long tail thread. I pinch the threads as I pull them away from the needle. Then at the end, I take the threads and tie them in a knot. Now I'll cut them shorter. Then you repeat for the other dart. Next, we want to press our darts down towards the hem. I like to do this on a pressing ham, especially if you're using one of the larger cup sizes. It's a little easier to press on the curved surface because our fabric is now more of a curve. Now I'm going to finish a bunch of my seams. I like to finish seams kind of as early as possible before stitching them together because it can prevent a lot of fraying during the stitching process. So on my facing, I'm going to finish these curved edges that are the bottom of the facing. This is going to be visible on the inside of the shirt. Then on my front pattern piece, where we just stitched the darts, I'm going to finish the side seams. And on the back pattern pieces, I'm going to finish the center back seam and the side seams. Often I also finish the shoulder seams at this point, but I've decided that with this fabric, I'll finish with pinking shears after I stitch the shoulder seams. For this project, I'm using my serger to finish the seams. If you don't have one or prefer not to use it, you can also use a zigzag stitch or an overlock on your regular machine. I like to turn the knife off on my serger so that I don't cut away any of the seam allowance. Because remember, we haven't stitched all of our seams yet, so I don't want to lose any of that. All right, now with the seams finished, I want to sew this seam together. So I'm going to take these back pattern pieces and place them right sides together. And then I'll just put a few pins in here and stitch a straight seam right down. And this is also stitched at a 5/8 seam allowance. And you'll want to backstitch at the beginning and the end. Okay, now you want to press this seam open. The last step we're going to do today is to stitch the shoulder seams. So line up the front and back with the right sides together. And I just like to put a few pins in. You can be a rebel and go without pins if you want. There is a notch in the shoulder seam that you can match to make sure that it's lined up correctly. And then we'll stitch straight across both shoulders. This seam is sewn with a straight stitch at 5/8 7-inch seam allowance. Now the shoulder seams are enclosed with the facing, so you don't really need a finish on them, but just to make sure, just to prevent any fraying, I'm going to do a little snip with my pinking shears. Okay, and then finally, last step for today, we're going to press the shoulder seams open. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you don't have the pattern yet, it's available in my shop and there's a link down in the show notes. Make sure to like the video to share it with other people and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified of future videos. Happy sewing!